Good evening, district leaders, fellow Toastmasters, members of District 104. We welcome you all to another training section in English from District 104 training team. Know your audience. Toastmaster Sheik Mohammed is in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for 24 years, working as Organizational Development Manager at International Medical Center Hospital. He joined Toastmasters in 2022, second runner-up in table topics and evaluation in SATAC 2023. Welcome, Toastmaster Sheikh Mohammed, and the stage is yours.
Thank you, Program Quality Director for District 104, Distinguished Toastmaster Balasubramanian. Well-structured introduction for the benefit of the audience. I would like to convey my heartfelt thanks to the District 104 training team for giving me such a wonderful opportunity to conduct this useful and crucial training program. I welcome all the audience into this training program. Dear fellow Toastmasters and leaders, it's my pleasure to welcome you all. Know your audience. Let us look at the training outline. The introduction part, why the topic itself is important. Key variable to study your audience. We're going to talk about this topic for an average of 10 minutes time. Number 3, how to keep the audience's attention. It's going to be another 10 minutes. We're going to look at this topic. Number 4, approaching the audience. Again, another average of 10 minutes time we'll spend on that. Number 5, common speech objectives. And finally, we'll conclude our training session. Anything what we do in our life, we start with meaningful purpose. The reason behind is the club mission. We all knew that our club mission is we provide supportive and positive learning experience. Positive learning experience, in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills that result in great self-confidence and personal growth. As a part of our club mission, the positive learning experience, we are all here in this training, which is crucial for every Toastmasters. Objective of this training, number 1, why knowing your audience is crucial for effective communication. And number 2, how to research and tailor speeches to meet audience's expectation or needs. Number 3, techniques to keep an audience engagement and the attention. Let me say this. Once we gave a speech about a latest technology trends in one of the club, where I found 80% of the audiences were above 50. I assumed that they loved the topic. Halfway through, I realized I was losing them. They were not interested in AI or new technologies. They wanted to know how these new technologies could make their life easier. So what I did, I quickly adjusted and tailored about topics related to what are the health applications and online banking application, which is actually in ground helping this generation. And suddenly I found they were all got into the track and they got engaged. And that day I learned that knowing your audience is everything for a speaker. By the end of this training, you will be able to better understand your audience, Keep their attention and tailor your speech objectives for maximum impact. The first topic, audience variable. In this, age range. This is very important for any Toastmaster, for any speaker when they go to deliver any speech, be it in a club level or be it in a corporate meeting. Understanding the audience age range is crucial. Every age group connect with different references. Example, using slang with an younger audience might be acceptable, but it could isolate an older audience. Similarly, references to historical events might not relate with younger generations, but that may more connect with your X generations who are above 40 to 50 in this range. I found one day a speaker gave a speech at a school. He told a story about a classic movie from the 80s. The teenagers stared at him blankly. They had no idea what he was talking about. So, what he did, by understanding that they are not connecting with the topic, that speaker in an intelligent way, he immediately switched to reference the Marvel movie. And suddenly they were all connected with the topic. Likewise, anyone who deliver any speech, and I strongly believe that first thing they need to understand what are the age group and what kind of generations the audiences or belongs to. And even if they did not had that particular research before they speak, on the time when they deliver their speech, it's crucial to look at the audiences and how they are getting engaged or disengaged, then try to adjust the speech. There is no any issues on that. The second topic in audience variable is the male female ratio. This is another topic is very important to use the inclusive language and avoid gender stereotypes when we provide any speech. Emphasize the need to address topics that are relevant to genders. Example, instead of using before you start a speech, some Toastmasters, some speakers, they used to say, hey guys, my name is 123. But this particular terminology maybe not connect with the ladies who are sitting in front of you. So it's better to use gender neutral terms like hello everyone. So that would be generic to address ladies and gentlemen, and of course all kind of generations who are sitting in front of you. Let's say you addressed an audience that were almost entirely women, for example, but using examples that relate to only male dominant subjects like sports, engineering, these kind of subjects, you would realize that it wouldn't connect with the other gender who was sitting in that auditorium or in the club. Because you are talking about a male dominant sports or engineering infrastructure and these kind of stuff. So better we used to include examples about teamwork and leadership that connected with everyone regardless of gender. And I strongly believe that this is kind of subject that relate to everyone, male, female, they're all into the leadership positions. They all work together in the corporate office in terms of teamwork. So that kind of generic subjects as a speaker, we need to consider when we think about male-female ratio. Dear audience, if you have any questions when I go through the subject, you're all welcome to raise your questions and let's have that more interactive session. Number 3, occupational and economic status. This particular variable can influence audience interest, values, and understanding of certain topics. Example, when speaking to a group of business professionals, for example, you might use business related examples and terminology, but this wouldn't be appropriate for the group of students because the background, the economic status or the occupational status is completely different. Some people, they are into the business, and the other group, what we are mentioning here, students, they are into the career. They are about to pursue their career a stage before to become a business people. Let's talk about an example, a small story about this topic. Let's say a group of high-level executives about saving money topic is going on. But when you talk about the same subject into the students, they would not be very interested in talking about how to save money. But when you talk about something related to the career, what they can do after they complete their high school, what are the career opportunities and career progressions that they can climb on by doing any particular academic studies, they would be interested to know. So that's a part of the example for occupational and economic status. Let's look at the other audience variable. Number 4, educational background. This is another crucial element. Understanding the educational background of your audience before even you deliver your speech. Adjusting vocabulary and complexity of information to match the audience's educational level. Example, avoid using highly technical terms with an audience that does not have necessary background knowledge. Let's say we go to deliver a speech in front of the audience in any particular club, where we will find most of the club members are highly qualified. They, let's say they have studied in the CBSE syllabus and they knew latest and complex terms in terms of English vocabulary. So you can alter your speech by putting very complex terms to describe any situations. That is completely different when you go to a club where they have, for example, audiences who belongs to bilingual language, where in that situation, members would not able to understand the complex terms. So it is better to alter our speech to go with simple terms, simple language that would connect again a diverse audience. As a speaker, our target is to connect with the audience. So no matter how you structure your speech in a complex way or in a simpler way, as long as it's connect with the audience, you are going to deliver and you're going to achieve your objective. In one of the speech, I used a technical terminology and complex research references, assuming that the audience was familiar with the subject, but later I learned that they were new to the topic. They found my speech overwhelming. So I was talking about AI and the robotic and these kind of new technologies and references, how it comes from Starlink and Tesla, from Elon Musk, these kind of company. But later I found that the audiences were not that into that knowledge. Then I have adjusted my speech in that particular meeting. So this gives a indication for any speaker to adjust the speech and try to put a simple analogy or comparison to describe any kind of subject. So overall educational background to be analyzed before you deliver your speech. That's very important. Number 5, political orientation. Though we don't encourage here in Saudi Arabia for our Toastmasters to talk about politics, but in talking in general in other countries, if we talk about the subject, we need to be careful. It is important to respect the diverse political views and avoiding overly biased language, especially if the topic is not directly related to the politics. Example, let's say if you speech is about a community service, focus on shared values rather than taking a strong political stance. Do not lean yourself or let your speech lean into a particular political party or supporting that kind of political leaders. That's not going to benefit you, because the audience, diverse audience was sitting in front of you. They may have that different perspective in terms of the political party or the leader which you are referring to. At a community event, somebody had that political joke thinking it was harmless, but some of the audiences laughed and some of the audiences, they felt their face and they tightened their face. So the speaker understood that that kind of political joke was not reaching the diverse audience. It is very important again to understand what you speak, and more than that, what you should not speak in front of any audience. It's a part of the political orientation audience variable. And let's look at the next one, which is leisure activities. This is about how you are understanding the leisure activities of the audience, or in another way, what are the hobbies of the audience which you are going to face in your speech, because this can help you connect with the audience on a personal level and tailor your speech accordingly to fit their interest. When you go to any particular club, you found audiences, they are, for example, if you know your audience enjoys reading, you might incorporate literary references or anecdotes into your speech. A speaker spoke to a group of hiking enthusiasts, let's say. He began the speech with the story about climbing a mountain. So the room is interested, the audiences got interested because the speaker has already analyzed what were the interest, and he customized his speech according to their interest. So when he talked about climbing a mountain, so all the audiences got engaged. On the other hand, if he had started a story about the business meeting, then imagine what could happen. They were all liking the hiking, like hiking the mountain. And let's say you start with the business references, you would have lose that audience. So understanding hobbies or understanding the leisure activity of the audiences where you're going to talk to them, that's going to give you an additional value to your speech, to help you to get connected with them. Moving forward, the second main topic, keep the audience's attention. Creating that maximum engagement with the audience is very important. Imagine that you are having a 1 hour or let's say a 10-minute speech in front of the audiences. And when you speak, you found your audiences were somewhere and somebody is taking their phone and getting busy with the phone, and somebody is looking here and there. People are waiting to to ask when the break is going to be. So that's not helping you to achieve your objective. So creating that maximum attention and the engagement is really important for the speaker. So the first one is the room acoustics. We need to be careful before we start this any meeting. Discuss how these environmental factors can impact audience engagement and suggest strategies for mitigating potential distractions. So we need to make sure that how the room arrangements was done, and we need to make sure if everything is properly arranged, and if any properties needs to be ready before we start the meeting. That needs to be checked prior we start our meeting. That's very important. Example, checking the sound system beforehand, ensuring adequate lighting and minimizing outside noise can help create a more conducive listening environment. The second thing is the seating arrangement. Now, when we do evaluation, we usually take this point for the speaker. If the speaker stand at the middle of the stage, and if he do not use that proper stage mapping, or if he stand in one place and looking at left side of the audiences 80% of the speech he deliver, we usually give this evaluation point that you have to behave like a table fan, even though you stand at the middle of the stage, but you need to give, um, uh, you need to look at the audience left, right, and in the middle, because you're going to scan the seating arrangement within the room. So that's also important. Example, an early morning or late afternoon presentation might require more energetic delivery to keep the audience engaged. The third thing is the lighting. This is also important to understand how the room has been arranged in terms of lighting, because some of the speech, they may record your speech with the audience's expressions. So switching on and switching off the light while you give your presentations, this is also important as a part of the environmental factor that has to be checked before we start our meeting. Temperature control. Temperature control is also very important. It depends on even though if it is 5 to 7 minutes speech, this factor play a vital role, because if your audiences are not feeling comfortable sitting in that room, this is going to create disengagement when you speak. Even if it is interesting, they're going to feel hot or feeling more cold. So that has to be controlled. I remember I once gave a speech in a room that felt like a freezer. People were shivering, and I could tell they were not paying attention. Now, if the environment is not an ideal environment, what we expect our audience expectations, we should acknowledge that and we should adjust according to them to get more comfortable. So the temperature control is very important. Next one, outside noise. Outside noise also has to be checked, because some places where we go for meeting, when the meeting goes on, when we talk about some important points, maybe we will hear the outside noise that would come all the way inside our room. And definitely the audiences, when they hear this outside noise, everybody will look what's going on, and that can also distract the audience while we give the speech. So it's very important. Other possible distractions. Let me give this small story. At a wedding speech, people kept checking their phones. So somebody gave kind of attention So they started a funny and unexpected story. So it worked. For example, when the other possible distractions which you were not expected, if something happened, so what you can do, you can try to bring the audience's attention, not necessarily to say what is in the agenda. You can say any funny stories. You can make them come and look what's going on in the stage. So that kind of tactics we can also do to bring the audience back if the any unexpected distractions happened. Time of day. Time of day is important because sometimes we are in Saudi Arabia, we are in Jeddah. Sometimes our meetings are happening in the weekday. Most of the meetings here, it's happening in the weekdays. Our weekdays are Friday and Saturday. Some of them have only Friday. So most of the meetings, 80% of our meetings are happening or scheduled in Fridays. So what's happening when, even though we prepare a very good agenda with slotted time, but for unfortunate situations, the time may exceed with the agenda timing which we specified. So we are coming across with the Jummah prayer. We need to make sure that the time of the day has been managed very well. So that could also impact in your speech. Because when the time reaches to that particular prayer time or any kind of other exceeds your agenda time, you never know, maybe the audiences, they believed in the agenda what we prepared and they came and sat to listen to your speech. And when it exceeds that particular time, you never know, maybe they want to go for prayer, or they might have a plan to go for another place. So they will start uncomfortable to looking at their time to leave the meeting, and they will expect when this meeting is going to complete, because their attentions are going away. We need to make sure the time of the day has been managed very well. Concurrent events and activities. We need to also make sure that the next level activities or events has been tackled in a good way, because the room you occupy, maybe they gave you from 3 to 5, and some other concurrent events or activities going to happen on that particular room. So the same kind of distractions would happen like what we discussed in the time of day, the previous element. So that needs to be really taken into consideration, to not give the time for the audiences to get distracted. Breaks for lengthy presentations. This is really, really important. I have noticed in many meetings that when audiences were sitting and the presentations or speech or a long time event goes long, people would think when it is going to be complete and when I'm going to have my tea break or a breakfast or lunch break. We should not give this kind of thinking to our audiences. We need to plan carefully to have our events which is planned. Not necessarily that you really give that break for tea or going outside and have that kind of social gathering for 5 to 10 minutes. No, you can also manage through giving, when you speak for, let's say, 20 minutes or 15 minutes, you can think about the break in terms of asking ideas from your audience, or creating that conversational threading technique where you ask questions from your audience. So far, what do you think? If there are any questions, you can ask me. So that's one part. And another part, you can also make kind of the group activities, stopping the speech and tell them, okay, we are going to have Now, the group activities, we're going to form 3-3 or 2-2. Let's have this fun game. From there, we will try to understand what you are trying to understand from this presentation or from this speech. So that kind of things has to be really considered to avoid the boring side the audience try to feel. And depends on the country you belongs to, depends on the place you belongs to. Maybe there could be other kind of issues or distractions could happen. But as a speaker, as a event management team, we need to tackle this. This is very important. The objective is we need to keep our audience attention and create that maximum engagement to benefit from whatever the speech you are trying to deliver. Now, the third element, approaching the audience. This is also very important in the topic of know your audience. Approaching the audience, this is we're going to look at now in the coming slide. First one, what does the audience already know? Before we deliver our speech, before we go into this stage, we need to really understand who are our audience and what are their age range, what are their economic occupational status, and how the room was prepared in terms of whatever the variables we looked in the previous slide. And in alignment with that, we need to also understand what does my audience they already know. I have attended some of the training sessions with the professionals. The first question they ask is, what are your expectations from me? Why you are here? Can you tell me what you expect from me in this event or in this training program? Before they ask even this question, as a speaker, as a trainer, we need to understand what they know already so that we will not repeat what they know, right? Explaining the importance of gauging the audience prior knowledge on the topic to avoid being too basic or too advanced. Again, we don't want to be too basic, which they knew already, or we don't want to be also too advanced, which they would not understand, and we will lose our power of persuading them in delivering our message to them. Example, what we can do, asking a few quick poll questions at the beginning of the presentation can help you assess the audience's existing knowledge. Research methods. Let's say discuss various methods for gathering information about the audience. We need to have a kind of research to understand what my audiences already know. A speaker once gave a speech about public speaking basics to a group of experienced Toastmasters. Imagine you have experienced Toastmasters, let's say distinguished Toastmasters who are sitting, let's say 70% of your audience is distinguished Toastmasters sitting in front of you. And what you're going to talk to them is the basics of how the public speaking, the anxiety or the glossophobia is about as a new speaker. That's not going to really help in that particular place because they are all experienced Toastmasters. So if you know that you're going to talk to this kind of audiences, then you definitely know the basic I need to convert into advanced level because they're all experienced Toastmasters. So by knowing your audience, what does they knew already, it's going to really help you to restructure or re-alter your speech to really help you to deliver your message. The second one, scan publications. What this means, before speaking, let's say you're going to deliver your speech in a tech event, okay? So before you go to that tech event, you try to read the recent newsletter and try to understand what that tech company is about and where this tech company is focusing on. Let's say you read the recent newsletter from the tech company. So you have the vision and the mission of that company. In that, you will try to find out what are their recent activities. Maybe you will try to find that, okay, this tech company is trying to adopt AI technology in the coming future. This is their mission. Okay. So when you understand where this company is moving forward, this will help you to include advanced AI technology concepts in your speech. Imagine that you go with these topics and you are speaking in this tech company employees and you deliver your speech. In that, you already have included why AI and how the AI new trends are going on. Definitely the audiences would get personally connect with your topic because the company mission is to focus on AI. So this is one of the example that how you scan publications before you go to a company, or even this is applicable before you go to any particular club. We have clubs in Jeddah, purely English, purely language, and some clubs are purely bilingual. So understanding before you go to each club, their audience and where the club is trying to move forward, that would really help you to deliver your speech in an effective way. Number three, contact local officers. For example, before you are going for any Toastmasters club, what you can do is you can speak to a club president and learn where they are struggling with any kind of topic or any kind of segment. Let's say the president of the club is telling you, okay, we are newly established club and our members are new. When we do the evaluation, the speakers are getting or taking too personal, and I found there are some kind of conflicts even arise between the members. I really want them to tell in a very professional way that we are Toastmasters and evaluation is the key segment that help every one of us to improve and find better version. So when we do this kind of conversation, and what we can do, we can customize our seminar or business session. For example, let's say how an evaluation is motivating or providing that constructive feedback for the members to understand their weak points and to creating that self-awareness to move forward in their life and achieve their communication and leadership skills. When I was invited to one of the Toastmasters club, that was exactly happened. That was a new club. And when I spoke to the club president, this is what exactly the president told me. And I have customized and I put some motivational quotes and tailored my business session. And after that particular business session, I found it was impact with new Toastmasters and they took it as positive. And even in that business session, I have included kind of terminologies, how to use the positive terminologies, even to not to say at Toastmasters, let me talk about your weak point, for example. No, don't even do that. Every one of us has weak point, and you need to reframe that kind of a straight point or negative kind of terminology into, let's talk about the challenges we have today. And let's talk about how we're going to resolve the challenges in your next speech. So these are kind of examples how you can customize and deliver your business sessions or a speech into the club or into any company. What you need to do is contact your local officers. Number 4, consult references. Let's say you are preparing for a speech about leadership, okay? So when you talk about this subject, this is a kind of advanced subject. So what you can do is you need to consult some references. For example, if you have your mentor, if you have your distinguished Toastmasters in your area or in your district, you have definitely has to sit with them to get some references. And also another kind of references, what you can do is you can watch a lot of TED Talks or YouTube channels or a kind of leadership and development coach who are available online. So you need to do these references before you get ready to even structure your speech, so that it will be more productive when you speak in front of the audiences that would create that credibility for you when you have that confidence and or conquering that stage with authenticity when you deliver that particular speech with professional references. Yeah. So number 5, talk with another presenter or actual member. This is also another technique. Talk with another presenter or actual member. Sometimes the club officers would give you a different picture about their club because they try to defend on their club, and they would always tell you that my club is the best in the district. But when you really contact the actual member, hey, let me understand how your club activities are. You really feel you got engaged, or you really even like to come every meetings? Is there any fairness for you to include you in the agenda to take roles? Are they teaching you, or they're developing you? That's the kind of questions would vary when you talk to the club officer. Let's say in this club president or VPE would vary with original or normal member in that club. So that would give a two-side story of the particular club. That's one part. And another thing is you can also talk to the previous presenter. You went to talk about any kind of topics you presented in that particular club or particular company. Let me understand, or can you please share what your experience? So the previous presenter could tell you, and that would also help you to approach the same audience what they faced earlier, right? So that's a kind of sharing experience with previous people who really had, or who really faced that previous audiences. A fellow Toastmaster told me that the audiences was about, they told me that when I went to this particular club, I spoke about a topic, I injected more humor. Really, I was happy that they're all laughed about my joke. So when I went to that same club, okay, I got an opportunity to include more jokes in my speech to convey the information in a very simple, in a humorous way that really worked for me. So this is a kind of sharing experience with another presenter or an actual member in order to deliver your speech again in an effective way. Common speech objectives fulfill the audience's goals. As a speaker, our main target is to fulfill audience's goals. Believe me, even though you have a 17 kind of methodology how to inspire your audience, or even if you have 70 slides, you show it to your audiences. But believe me, if you miss this one particular ingredient, which is fulfilling the audience's goals and their expectations, unfortunately, as a speaker, you'd get failed. So this particular part is very important. Just before you structure your speech, before you go to the stage, think from their shoes. All the meetings, as we discussed, 80% it's happening in the weekday. I have only one day as an audience to spend my family, to have my leisure activities in the weekend. But I, all the way, starting from my home, driving my car, attending the meeting, and trying to sit over there and listening to you. But if you are not taken into serious, if you are not able to keep my attention for that 7 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever it is, or if you're not able to fulfill my goal as an audience, seriously, I would think or I would regret that why I went to that meeting, right? So it's very important to fulfill their goals. We need to inform what we really want to be delivered. To inform as a speaker, we need to do some research. We need to have figures and facts. We need to include a kind of humor to keep the audiences well engaged, and also in the meantime to deliver the message in a positive manner. I once gave a speech about time management. What I did, I breaking into 3 actionable steps. The audience appreciated the clear structure and practical advice. Let's say you go and talk about time management and it's all in the air. You should do that, you should do that. Okay, but how to do that? Do we have a methodology that I can follow? If you missed that particular component or action items or practical advice, again, it's not going to be great as a speaker for you, and it's not going to be good as an audience for them. Second, inspire them. You need to include kind of motivational stories. Most relatable is if you are having that real life incidents that can be easily connected with the audience. So try to share any kind of your life journey, overcoming, for example, a stage fear, or so the audiences relate to your vulnerability and felt inspired to face their own fears, for example. Instead of saying inspirational story for others, you can share your own story. I was in 2 years back, I was like this, now I am delivering this in front of you. Look at my confidence. And so personal stories would always connect to the audiences very well. Persuade. We have a persuasive influence path in our Toastmasters International. I would like to share with you this information that my first path was persuasive influence. I love that path. It's really great one. You can select any topic, but definitely you need to do your research and you need to go and take a kind of figures and facts, because you're going to persuade the audience who are sitting in front of you. So you're going to influence them. So that would definitely help you both personally and professionally. And that would really help in a corporate sector also, to when you raise your ideas to your top management. It's not only just raising your ideas, you need to influence them. You need to convince them why this particular idea is going to help, why this particular project needs to be considered, what would be the return of return of interest on this idea. The last one and the main one is entertainment. As I told you, audiences are coming all the way to hear your speech. Be it informative speech, or be it an inspirational speech, or be it a persuasive speech, we should not avoid the entertainment or fun element, because cracking that serious atmosphere with joke and doing a fun kind of element or activities would definitely help to have the maximum impact for the audience. Conclusion. We need to be very knowledgeable about the subject we're going to talk. This is basic. That's called know-how. Do you know what you're talking about? That's really important. You need to really understand and have knowledgeable in your topic, because that would create the authenticity. If you say in the stage, I think, one way. The other way is when you talk about the statistics, I think it was 70-20. No, you don't think. You have to be pretty sure what you are talking about. Yeah, that's very important. Number two, positive energy. Throughout your speech, you have to have that energy positively, in order to not let your audience move away from you as a topic or fell into sleep. Number three, confidence. Because you need to be confident in what you are saying, the way you are standing, your posturing on the stage, your stage movements, your hand gestures, your body language, your vocal variety, everything together, that would give the confidence as a speaker when you speak in front of the audience. Number four, speaker-friendly audience. Don't be very serious when you speak. Relax. Sometimes you create that conversational threading, ask questions, try to have an interactions with your audiences. Thank you very much. If anyone have any questions, please let us have an interactive questions and answers session on this particular training topic.
Hello, good evening. Thank you very much, Sheik. Very nice, and it's very useful for me. I have one question about you told me that there is a vocabulary adjustment. So, how we can do the vocabulary adjustment in to practice in the day to day, every day? How to practice the vocabulary, as well as how to adjust in our speech? I didn't get. I want to know more about it.
Okay, great question, Toastmaster Mohammed Abbas. First of all, I would like to thank you for attending this meeting and actively listened the training program. That's where the question came from. Well, regarding vocabulary, now we have a lot of YouTube channels. For example, if you really, there are two things I see in your question. One, how to enhance the vocabulary in personal life to implement. Another point what I see is how to adjust this vocabulary when you stand in front of different audiences, right?
Yes, yeah, right.
Correct. So the first question, in order to enhance your vocabulary, you need to have that good interactive communications with your friends, or that's why we are attending a lot of our Toastmasters meeting and we are practicing and we are learning from each other. Or if these are happening twice a week, and if it is only for 1 hour, you really need to enhance your vocabulary. You need to watch a lot of YouTube channels are now available Based on our level of English vocabulary, we can select the YouTube channels. Some of the YouTube channels, when you look at, they are very westernized and slang. They talk about, let's say, I want to go to the shop. Some YouTubers will talk, I want to go to the shop. So we don't want that kind of slang kind of videos. But when you talk about other YouTubers, they really talk like the way we want to communicate in our society. So that's the one of the channel you can follow to watch the YouTube videos to enhance your vocabulary. Coming back to your second question, how to adjust. For example, you go to a Toastmaster club where you found that the audience who are sitting in front of you, they are, I would say that in a scale of 10, you had your research and the level of their English vocabulary is, for example, 4. Okay. So there is a statement I'm writing in my structure that I called my mom and I found my mom was sobbing on the other hand. Sobbing means crying. Okay. So when you talk about this, you don't really believe that some of the people, they may not know what is sobbing. Okay. But when you clearly put into, I called my mom and I found my mom was crying. So this is one of the example. When you go to a club where they are very well-fledged, let's say out of 10, they are 8 or 9 in their English vocabulary, you can put the first example. When I call my mom, I found, I don't know, my mom was sobbing on the other hand. But when you go to other club where you do your research and find out the audiences are not that well-oriented with English vocabulary and that level is 3 or 4, try to change the statement. I called my mom and I found my mom was crying. So this is one of the small example how you alter even your speech and conversation based on the level of your audience in terms of English vocabulary. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks for the question.
Toastmaster Sheikh Mohammed, thank you very much for giving us a very good speech and well-prepared speech. And you showcased many examples. So what is, I noticed one thing, when you talk about the marriage hall, when the many people are there and they are watching their mobiles and all, you want to take the attention. It is easy techniques to give some gift. So if you answer this one, we will deliver or we will distribute some gift so that, you know, we can attract the audience to our speech. This is one suggestion.
Okay, but we need to think about the budget approval. So we are talking about a financial dimension here. We'd never know. Already it's a marriage hall, too much expenses. So you are adding more budget. So the easy way to bring the audiences back to the normal activities, you try to tell a joke that would cost 0.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the interaction, Toastmaster Abdul Fattah.
Thank you, leaders. Any other questions? Any clarification? Hearing none. Thank you, Toastmaster Sheikh Mohammed, for a great presentation with the real life examples. Really, it was an interactive, very interesting and useful training for all of us.
Thank you. Thank you, our program quality director for this year for our District 104, distinguished Toastmaster Balasubramanian, and for the training team for giving me this such a wonderful opportunity. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
It's really appreciable. Actually, we'd like to thank you once again. This is a certificate of appreciation awarded to Toastmaster Sheik Mohammed in recognition of outstanding support for the training session conducted about Know Your Audience on January 11, 2025. Signed by District Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Abdul Hadi Awsawi, and Program Quality Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Bala Subramanian. And thank you so much, all leaders. Hope you all enjoyed this session, and like to see you on the next training section, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Bala.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.